Hey, welcome. This is Josie and I'm at the YogaLocal studio here. Today, I invite you to join this conversation with me about slowing down. And it's a really important topic, especially for me, because I recognize that my whole yoga journey began when I, kicking and screaming, there was so much resistance to this one, but yeah, literally that I went kicking and screaming into this realization, this understanding, this inner knowingness that in order to move forward, I had to slow down. And I think it's a message that is so necessary, especially right now, especially coming out of COVID, when I believe anyway that most of us got a kind of glimpse of how a forced pattern interrupt can really help us to make those necessary changes that are more life enhancing, more evolutionary, more fulfilling, have a better effect on our well-being. But unfortunately, I don't know what your experience is, but mine is certainly that everyone's getting back into the swirl. Everybody's getting pulled back into the speed vortex. And life is getting fuller and fuller again, and things are speeding up again. And, I recognize this as something that we need to pay attention to. Life can only get so full, and it gets fuller and fuller and fuller to the point, certainly for me 10 years ago, this is what happened. It was so full in the driving and the striving and the accomplishments and the performance and everything that we're kind of conditioned to chase after. As life gets fuller and fuller and fuller, we end up losing our way, and our internal resources just become completely depleted, right? We are spent. There is nothing left to give. And for me, there was warning signs. I believe now very much so that our bodies are constantly trying to feed back to us in the most loving and nurturing way. And we override those systems. We override all the warning signs. We override all the aches and pains and the stresses. We ignore the anxiety attacks and the random illnesses that crop up, and just the feeling of overwhelm. And then we try and just keep muscling through, or maybe adding more on, right, to our plate, to try and in an attempt to try and alleviate our dis-ease. We start to recognize that what we really need is to step out of that speed vortex. But it's so hard. It's so hard because speed and the desire for more and being in that pace and that rush, there's an adrenaline rush that happens with that. There's a very real addictive quality to be constantly on the go, but it does cause this restlessness. It's unhealthy for our bodies, and it just plays havoc with our nervous system. Stress response is constantly on high alert. This is going to create inflammation in the body, and inflammation is one of the most in terms of the causes of most modern day illnesses and diseases. Inflammation is at the root of that. And as I said, like, the body can feed back to you that there's something not right? And we will ignore, and we will push to the side, and we will maybe add on even more stuff to our plate to try and drown out those warning signs. So I've come to this understanding now through my yoga practice that, yoga is a practice to help us to become still, to connect with ourself, and to start paying attention to those signs and signals that that are being fed back to us on a daily basis and that we have become disconnected from. It sounds impossible, right? And I see it on a daily basis that, just this idea that you could create any amount of time to give yourself the a sense of priority, give your well-being a sense of priority. We are likely caretakers of other people, right? Our families. We have responsibilities, our jobs, and our communities maybe. But, and it does sometimes come across quite twee, right? And like, oh, take care of yourself to take care of others. But, it's so blooming true. You're no use to man nor beast if you are operating from a place of depletion and overwhelm and stress and overwork. This is a call to optimize, right? We are way more capable than we think we are. And if we can start to become more efficient with our use of our energy, if we start to learn how to manage our mind, if we start to learn to master our energy, then we really get to affect those people that we say that we care about. We really get to up-level our impact in our jobs, in our relationships. It really is stepping back to slow down in order to become more. And I think that's what we don't really grasp when we see people in yoga practices getting still and getting silent and becoming steady. Like, if you see some of these really powerful yoga gurus and teachers, they're not wasting their energy, in some overheated room, in some creative, expressive, high-paced, stressed flow. Their practice is in a solid, stable, well-held posture where they're going in on themselves and where they're being able to manage and master their breath as a route to master their mind, as a route to master their consciousness. And when we mastered our consciousness, really there isn't much that we are not capable of. It's our lower mind, it's all our doubts, it's all our worries, it's all our confusions, it's all that rapid, kind of irritated activity of the mind that is separating us from our capability, from our sense of true self, from our greatness, right? And I know from my own experience, because there is resistance in that slowing down. We see slowing down, or we've been conditioned to, and this is my experience, my opinion, but I feel very strongly that we've been conditioned to see being still, taking rest as something that is weak, right? Whether it's something that is lazy, right? Or it's the soft option, right? I can tell you with 100% conviction that if you are holding a posture steady for I know 2-3 minutes even, it's not even a massive length of time, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle not just with the holding your body and your body weight and your form, but you're going to struggle with the mind, and that conversation that is constantly trying to provoke you to continue into that speed conversation, like move on. I want to move on. I want to get into the next posture. I don't want to be here. And really, we're training in yoga to be here, to be in the now, because that is the place that we get to choose from a much more evolutionary standpoint, right? When we're conscious, we can pick from a whole gamut of options. When we're in our lower mind, we're just maybe pulling from one or two very familiar options, which limits us, right? It limits us. We become more limited. The more that we speed up, the more limited we become. So like, I don't know how well I'm going to get on this mission of slowing people down, but I really feel it is part of what I'm here to do, is to help you get off your speed mills and help you to understand the importance of coming back to a more natural rhythm, coming back to yourself, working with the seasons, working with the rhythms of the day, working with the seasons in terms of your nutrition and how that you're fueling your body with those products and that's more natural for the environment that you're sharing your body with, right? And yeah, and it might sound impossible, right? I can hear it coming through, like, Josie, I've just got so much to do. How on earth do I create space in the day for my well-being? Well, you know, I firmly believe that, you know, we can do whatever we put our minds to. Yes, we might need to break some serious habits. Yoga practice is about that. It's, you know, it's got hijacked by the fitness industry. It's something that we do to create a strong body. It does create a strong body, but more than that, it helps us to undo all this patterning that's holding us back from our greatness, holding us back from experiencing life without the anxiety, without the stress, without the overwhelm. And being able to really come from a place of groundedness, consciousness, strength, love, compassion, you know, all those amazing qualities that are there for us to tap into at any moment. But we're so busy dealing with this, dealing with that. We just forget. We've forgotten. We've forgotten who we are. And yoga is about remembering who we are and what we're capable of. And it takes a pattern interrupt to get us to slow down for long enough to remember. So as it happens, like, I've known this has been part of my dharma, my purpose, for a long time, since before I even had this studio space. Maybe not had quite the confidence to actually go against the grain. You know, it is against the grain. Most yoga studios are providing the opposite to what we're offering. It kind of feeds, for me anyway, and I've done this kind of practices, so, and I've taught in this way before, but yeah, it's mostly feeding into the imbalance, like, oh, can we do more? Can we do more with the posture? Can we sweat more? Can we be more physical? It's depleting. There is a place for that practice, but it's about the balance, right? If that's all we go to our mat for, is to add more pace, more speed, more performance, more ego, more desire for something, more attachment to something, like, we're really, really, really missing the point. So gone off on a tangent, but that's kind of like, it's easier for us to kind of just stay in that stream, in that vortex, keep moving in that, and like moving out of that, stepping away, doing what everyone else is not doing, being okay and standing in your own sense of self and go, actually, this is nuts. This is nuts, and I need to slow down, and I need to at least find half an hour in my day, right? If we can't find half an hour in our day to look after ourselves, we are in big trouble. So what I'm trying to help you guys with is to, first of all, remember that it's okay, and actually it's vital that you do start creating the space to slow down, because if you're not well, our environment's not well, our energy is interacting with the environment. If you're not well, I'm not well. It's we have to take care of our wellness in order to serve others. So half an hour a day should be like a minimum that we should be striving for. And I get it sounds impossible for some of us, you know, especially if you've got, you know, young children, and you know, you pour all your heart and soul into nurturing and nourishing other people, and then managing a job, and managing a boss, managing a husband, managing a spouse, whatever it is. But as I said earlier, you know, you can serve them way much more if you're on form, right? And if you're operating from a more conscious space and making choices that are right for you in order to make choices that are right for everyone. And that's one of the big messages of yoga. We're not just here on our mats to try and make ourselves great. It's about becoming great in order that we can serve and be more of a you contribute more, right? Contribute more to our families, the people around us, the world, the planet, the universe, right? The sky's the limit. Well, the universe is the limit, should I say. So it does sound impossible, but it's not. And I think if we look back at the pandemic, you know, we definitely found ways. You know, when we were forced to slow down, we found ways. So, you know, I'm challenging you all, if this feels kind of true to you, that you need to slow down in order to step up. Let's see if we can find ways slowly, sustainably, to move ourselves out of the speed vortex and come back into stillness. So I mentioned that this is something that I thought was my purpose for some time, and before I really had a business, really, I created a free guide, a free PDF guide. It's called the 8 Stop to Be Unstoppable Yoga Rituals. It's a planner and a habit tracker, and it's got pause point plan in it, things to help you to kind of sit down and try and find the moments in your day where you can start to prioritize your well-being, right? And overcome the resistance that will, for sure, get in the way, because it still does. And this is why practice is kind of a daily practice, because life will constantly want to pull you back into that stream, right? That flow. So we need strategies to help us to keep coming back to ourselves. Now, if this first kind of issue is, well, I just haven't got time to come and practice, I just haven't got time to meditate, I just haven't got time to do anything, then this is where I thought we could start. It includes a habit tracker in here, so you can start to create some moments in your day where you're starting to bring some consciousness to how you're spending your time, where you could kind of find those moments, those pause points, those spaces between your thinking that you can then maybe make a new choice. So this is free, and you can find it on our website. You can find it in the link in our bio. It will be attached to the blog and this podcast so that you can download it. And I just want you to challenge yourself, right? Can you find space for reflection, for contemplation? It doesn't have to be a massive full-on practice to begin with. You just have to start somewhere. You just have to recognize the need to slow down and then start to kind of apply the brakes gently, okay? Apply the brakes gently, and then we can start to re-strategize, right? How do we build momentum from here, from a place of more awareness, of more consciousness, of being connected to yourself and what you need. And therefore, when you're working from that place, you're going to thrive, and you're going to bypass the stress, you're going to bypass the anxiety, you're going to bypass the inflammation. You're going to get taken down less, which means you can serve more. So I really hope that you check out the planner and the habit tracker. Let me know if it works, right? Let me know if you've made any amount of movement towards stillness and spaciousness, and let me know how it feels and share it, because I think we need to be supporting each other to be able to prioritize our well-being, not in a selfish way, but in a way that is kind of like, oh my God, this just really makes sense, right? It makes sense, because the alternative is that world and vision of stress and overwhelm and overwork, and why are we racing towards that? So just ask yourself, and download the tracker, let me know what you think, and hopefully that'll be the first step, like it was for me. That first step in slowing down has really changed my life and transformed it beyond recognition. So right, we'll see how it goes for you. Okay, get the planner, get the tracker, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.